How are you? So nice to meet you.
I'm good. Hold on, let me. Okay, good. I think I'll be set.
Well, so nice to meet you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you for asking me to. I'm delighted to be here.
Of course. So first, I would just like to get started by you introducing yourself and going into the story.
Sure. My name is Pamela Hirsch. I'm founder of Baby Quest Foundation, which is a nonprofit founded about 11 years ago. This that awards grants for assisted reproduction, anything from egg freezing to IVF to egg and sperm donation to embryo donation and gestational surrogacy.
Wow, that's amazing. And can you tell us how the foundation got started?
Sure. Um, well, I have about 3 or 4 careers, starting out as a teacher, then going to become one of the founders of a national test prep company called the Princeton Review. I did that for about 20 years. Just soon after I sold my interest in that, our younger daughter started going through fertility treatments or trying to get pregnant,
Hmm.
and she and her husband miscarriage, and then Clomid, and then failed IUIs, and then 4 IVFs each time she became pregnant, but she lost the baby after hearing the heartbeat at 9 weeks. And we knew that there was a problem. Fortunately, we encouraged her to see another doctor. Immediately, she was diagnosed as her uterus was malformed and she could not carry a child.
Oh, wow.
And that obviously, on one hand, was heartbreaking. On the other hand, meant, okay, we were extremely blessed financially. Get a surrogate. Fortunately, they produce very healthy quantity and quality embryos. And within a year, she had her first daughter, my first one granddaughter, who now is 14. So it's been a while. And then again, 3 years later, another surrogate carried another child. So they have two. And after the first baby was born in 2011, I just said to myself, we were very fortunate. What would I have done as a control freak mother to help my daughter if we could not have helped her have a child via surrogacy? And how do other parents cope with that? How do couples cope with it if they don't have the money to embark upon any procedure, let alone gestational surrogacy, which is
Right.
uh, extremely
Hmm.
expensive? So I started Baby Quest, and I started it with um, calling in favors from friends, and we gave out 2 grants in March of 2012. The total was, I think, $9,000 or $10,000,
Oh,
and from there it has grown and grown and grown, and we've now given out over $3 million,
that's
have
amazing.
175 babies,
Oh, wow.
and do this. We give grants twice a year to those who, as I said, for any of the procedures that I mentioned, just about anything associated with assisted reproduction. We pride ourselves on being diverse and inclusive. That's extremely
Mhm.
important. We're talking about singles, mothers by choice, fathers by choice, same-sex couples. We have given grants to 2 transgender couples. Both of them have children now, and one just very recently and one a few years ago. And the main requirement is to be a permanent resident of the United States. We do not fund those outside of this country.
That is absolutely amazing how it's grown and the impact that it's made. That is absolutely fantastic. You must feel so just like warm in your heart when you think about all of the change that you've helped to create.
It's very heartwarming. It's also a reminder of how much more there is to do,
Exactly.
because we give grants twice a year. We're up to giving out, I would say, at least $240,000 each time to a
Wow.
group of people, 14 to 16 recipients. But there are 50 other recipients, actually, many more applicants, but many others who we wish we could give the grants to. And, people do apply. Sometimes they apply twice. That's the maximum. We do not encourage people applying more than twice. But it's still difficult
Hmm.
to make choices that impact people so greatly.
Yeah.
We are thrilled that we can make a positive impact. It's just upsetting when we can't select everybody.
I was going to ask, what is the decision-making process like? When you get an application, what makes for an ideal applicant?
um, Somebody who does their homework and follows directions, to put it very bluntly. We try to be extremely transparent. We have, yes, there's the application. No, it's not simple and easy. It's not signing your name on a paper. It's about 17 or
Oh, wow.
18 tasks you have to do. And we put hints, tips. The other day, we have a very active social media presence. And the other day, for example, we said, here are 5 extra tips on how to prepare a good application. On our website, which is babyquestfoundation.org, we have a blog that has articles about, here are some good tips. Here's a sample
Yeah.
of an application or a story that somebody has written, one of our previous applicants. So much of it is doing your homework. It's remembering what you're applying for, and don't call us a different grant. There aren't that many
Oh,
others, but at least put the right name there.
oh, yeah.
As I said, doing your homework, especially if you're interested in gestational surrogacy.
Mm.
That's a whole other thing. And we just put a an information sheet on the blog addressing specifically gestational surrogacy. What should you do to be a very good gestational surrogacy intended parent applicant? Because, as I said, that's a whole other thing. We generally tell our IVF applicants, you really cannot have started the process before applying. In other words, you can't say, oh yeah, we've got the money to do this. Let's schedule the doctor's appointment. Let's go to the first appointment. Oh, but then let's apply for a grant because we just found out how much it
Right.
is, even though we've already ordered our meds and we've scheduled a retrieval. So we tell those people, no, you have to be at the beginning of your process. You have gone for your consultation. You have to know what you need, because sometimes doctors will say, you need ICSI, which is
Mm-hmm.
penetrating the egg, with the sperm, because your husband has a weak sperm, or you need a sperm donor, you need an egg
Right.
donor, or you need genetic testing, for certain diseases, because that runs in your family. So those applicants have to have had a consultation. For surrogacy, we've really upped our requirements a little bit, in the fact that we now are saying, not a hard fast requirement, but we are saying a better surrogacy applicant is one who has already formed embryos,
Oh, okay.
and had them genetically tested. We find things that we do wrong every time. I mean, it's a learning process, and
Mm-hmm.
I won't say that we did wrong, but we just find ways to improve. Like 2 years ago, we decided we were wasting too much paper, and we were like tearing down a forest each
Mm-hmm.
time we had an application. So now we do everything online.
Right.
We became live. It's great. I have to say, there were some kinks, and there always are, but it's wonderful. But we have found in the past, we funded some applicants who had not, surrogacy applicants who had not um, created embryos.
Mm.
And even after funding them, they never were able to create them. So it just kind of
Oh,
ended.
no.
And it was sad for everybody. But we really feel that, like, especially for that process, we need to know a little bit more about what the end result is going to be, that at least there will be an embryo to transfer. And I did learn a lot. My daughter, who went through the 4 IVFs and the surrogacy, she owns a surrogacy agency, fairly large here in Los Angeles, called Abundant Beginnings. And she's my go-to person for her telling me, you're doing this wrong. You should be requiring people to have the embryos at least created, because you're taking a big chance.
Right.
So anyway, that's just one of the aspects of what we do. But you asked me about a good application. if you went for a job interview, you should theoretically study the company, know who the CFO or the CEO is, or what their policies are. And I feel the same way about applying for a grant. Understand what we're looking for. We have so much information available online. We don't keep it a secret. And not taking advantage of those hints and tips and blogs put somebody at a disadvantage. Not to say that it's magic if you follow everything,
Right.
because I'm sure there are people who do follow all the directions and they still are not accepted. But we certainly try to help and try to give everybody as much help as we can.
That's amazing. That's very, very helpful. When is the next grant cycle?
We're getting close. September 6th is the deadline. And we don't have to listen to excuses anymore from the post office of, I forgot to deliver it, I just put it in the wrong post office box. I honestly don't remember, but I think it's 5 p.m. Pacific time on September 6th. That is the cutoff.
Okay.
No late applications. That's it.
How long do you think it takes to fill out the application?
As far as the actual filling it out, if you're sitting there, if you know your past fertility history, you say, I have 3 IVFs. I know what year they were in. I know what who my employer is. I know our phone numbers. I have my insurance card, and we warn people about this. I have my insurance card sitting in front of me, and I know how to make a copy of the front and back. I know that I have to write a 2-page story. I've already done that. It's sitting here, on my desk. I can cut and paste and put that on. That part, income, bank balance, stuff like that, financial stuff. I know how much my house is worth. I know how much debt we have, stuff like that. That part's pretty easy if you're prepared with those things that I mentioned. The one thing that takes a little more time, and we warn people over and over and over, there is a 3-page doctor medical evaluation that is included in one of the sections of the application. And the applicant has to download that, print it out, take it to her doctor, his or her doctor, and have the doctor fill it out. Well, that can take the nurse an hour, or it can take 2 weeks, or it can take a month. And it's up to the applicant to be his or her own advocate. Sometimes you have to be obnoxious and call the doctor. Say, you haven't filled it out yet. Would you please do it? Or I need this. Or please, I'm going to come to the office and stand by the desk and stand there till you get it done.
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, that's the determining factor. And I can't say. What we try to say to people is 3 weeks. That allow yourself 3 weeks. In fact, you'll see that the application deadline is the September 6th. The last 2 weeks before the deadline, we really don't promote starting the whole process again. We will send emails to those people who have started the application, but as far as starting it all over, people call 2 days before the grant deadline. The day of the grant deadline, I just went to the doctor. I unfortunately just found out I need IVF. I need to apply. And we really are not encouraging about that. Because why waste? You have 2 times to apply. Don't waste it on a sloppy application that we've put together. And we can usually tell if it was thrown together at the last minute. Plus, you probably won't get the doctor to cooperate either that quickly. So I would say allow 3 weeks.
Okay. We got a comment on the live that the app doesn't take too long. Making sure you have the documents from your doctor filled out correctly. That is key.
Exactly. And I know who put that. Hello to she's a recipient.
Oh, okay.
That's another. Yeah, she knows how to fill it out. That's something else too. Doctors are not infallible, or nurses. And when you get the form, if you look at it and they have left off your A count, your AMH level, day 3 FSH, BMI, just husband sperm analysis, if those are blanks and you know you've done those things, I mean, maybe you haven't had an egg count, which is really important, but if they've left crucial items blank, call them, find
Right.
out,
Yeah,
you know, get those things on there, because there's certain things that are really crucial to us and to our doctor team, our medical team, in making a decision. And you know, you don't want to be sloppy in your part. Don't allow your clinic to be
for
sloppy on theirs.
sure. For sure. And clinics are probably used to filling out these forms, I would imagine, with different grants coming out
I
and everything.
Yes, I mean, you can run the gamut, everything from you never hear a problem. Maybe we've worked with the clinic
Mm.
before, and maybe that's easy, to an applicant calling with a question of, my clinic said they're going to charge me $1,000 to fill out this form. What do I do? And I really want to say, find another clinic,
Yeah.
because a clinic, it's 2 pages. It's something a nurse could look at um, the file
Hmm.
and fill out. It's very basic information. And to hear that is really unfortunate. And
That is
I don't
crazy.
have an answer for that other than, like I said, find another clinic. And there are times when nothing like being energized about this, when somebody will say to us or to me, um, the nurse told me that this is a scam and I'm never going to get a grant. Well, that just makes me more wanting to give that person, not everybody needs to write that now, but it's really unfortunate that a nurse or a business, the gatekeeper in the clinic, you know,
Hmm.
has the financial stuff. Usually we don't hear this from doctors, but it's really unfortunate that people are discouraging patients. And yet we have other clinics who encourage their patients to apply, who know that receiving a Baby Quest grant, as far as from the office, the business office, the clinic, the fertility clinic, we'd make them do no extra paperwork. There's not invoices. There aren't um, all kinds of insurance, anything like that. It's basically, here's an applicant who needs an extra $8,000, $10,000, $15,000 to have a procedure. On the day when the payment is due, the business office calls me and I give them a credit card number. So what is the difference between the patient walking up and handing a credit card over, or a third party,
Yeah.
whether it be a parent or a friend or a charity, paying for the procedure? So it is so painless, that it bothers me when clinics tell people, "Oh, don't bother, you'll never get it." Not a good idea.
No. How many applications do you generally receive during a grant cycle? And then how many recipients do you have?
Um, I would say that the number of people who complete the application, not who started,
Hmm.
because there are people who start and goodbye. They don't finish it. I say we get between 300 to 400 applications. And the last time we were able to choose, I think, 15 or
Oh, wow.
16 recipients. Um, that doesn't sound like a lot, I know. But if you ask anybody who has been a recipient,
Hmm.
um, they probably went into it thinking, I'm going to try this. It gives me more of a chance than if I don't
Exactly.
try. So, again, the more donations we receive, the more grants we can give out. We have virtually no overhead. We don't pay salaries, um, even to myself included. It's pretty much money comes in, money goes out
Wow.
to
That's
recipients,
wonderful.
and not to individual recipients, to fertility clinics,
Hmm.
um, attorneys, escrow companies, genetic companies.
That's so interesting. I just want to pivot back to the beginning when you were talking about watching your daughter and struggle. I'm curious what words of encouragement you could give to others who are trying to support their loved one who's struggling.
Oh. Don't cry at night every night like I did.
Oh,
Um, Now, it's so hard. I mean, I have 2 daughters. They're both grown women, each one of them. has two daughters, so we have a very pink
Oh,
family. And they both live here in Los Angeles, or close into town, and we're very close. So it was really difficult. And again, I'm the type of person, I've always been very career oriented and I guess fairly aggressive, and I've always felt like I could solve things that came along. And between fertility and my other daughter's horrendous breast cancer, and she was going through chemo, you can't do everything as a mom. Something to cry. So all you can do is be very thankful that medicine works, and in our case with our daughter, that we were financially blessed, because otherwise, I know that sounds crass, but that's what worked. And, for the other daughter with the breast cancer, wonderful medical treatment and very early detection.
right. Well, thank you so, so much for taking the time to join us today. I really, really appreciate you taking the time to speak with us, give us more information about Baby Quest, tell us about the Grand Cycle, and just to learn more about you.
Thank you. Well, if anybody needs any questions answered, the best way to get them answered is to email, to look at the website, babyquestfoundation.org, do your homework, get some specific questions. Please don't call or write and say, will you explain how this process works? We even have a cartoon on our website that explains, which one of my granddaughters narrated, which explains, it's cute, how the process works. But please send us specific questions. I answer them within a day, easily.
Okay.
But thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much. Have a great evening.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.